This is New Zealand, located just south of the Pacific Ocean, about 4,000 kilometers from Australia, the second most peaceful country in the world. Most of the people living in India and Pakistan, like me, know New Zealand only because of cricket. Brendan McCullum, Ross Taylor, Daniel Vittori. I knew New Zealand only because of these legends. But New Zealand is famous worldwide, especially for its large mountain ranges, beautiful climate, and high-quality organic food. Now, some of us might already know that the famous movie Lord of the Rings was also shot in these breathtaking cities of New Zealand. The weather here is exactly like the UK. Hot summers, long winters, and a lot of rain. But despite this, New Zealand's population is not even 7% of the UK's population. If you look at this map of New Zealand, you'll see that about 80% of New Zealand is completely empty. There is no one there. 70% of New Zealand's population lives in the north, and even 50% of that is concentrated in just one city, Auckland. Despite such great weather, stunning scenery, affordable living, and a high standard of life, why is 80% of New Zealand empty? Today, we will uncover the answer. The truth is, if we look at the world map, we realize something shocking. New Zealand is very far from the rest of the world. If you board a plane from Karachi or Mumbai, you can reach New Zealand only after a grueling 18 to 22-hour flight, crossing the entire Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean. Now, the big question, how did humans even reach this remote island? There are multiple theories. According to the official New Zealand website, around 1320 to 1350, the Maori people discovered New Zealand. The people who lived across the islands of the Pacific Ocean, also called Polynesian Islands, were known as Polynesians. According to official sources, the Maori people left their islands, boarded large boats, and arrived in New Zealand. This was happening at the same time as the Mongols and Genghis Khan were conquering all of Asia. But wait, another question arises. Why did these people leave their homeland and travel across the vast ocean? When we researched, we found something incredible. According to some historical Maori records, New Zealand was not discovered in the 13th century, but rather 500 years earlier, around 758 AD, by a man named Kupe. Kupe was a fisherman who provided food for his tribe, but something strange started happening. Whenever he went fishing, a giant octopus would steal his catch. Now, fish was the main food source of these people. As problems grew, Coop and a group of 20 to 25 companions set out into the Pacific Ocean, searching for a land where food and water were abundant. After days of sailing, they saw something extraordinary, a land with huge mountains. This was New Zealand, a paradise with rich seafood, goats, and fruits. And most importantly, no humans. Kupi immediately sent some of his men back to inform the rest of the Polynesians about this discovery. And this is how the Maori people began settling in New Zealand. For centuries, they lived peacefully, untouched by the outside world. But then, everything changed. This was the era when European nations were aggressively expanding their power across the globe. Explorers were being sent out to find new lands, and in 1642, a Dutch explorer named Abel Tasman stumbled upon New Zealand. But when he tried to land, a bloody battle broke out with the Maori warriors. He had no choice but to flee. Then, in 1769, British officer James Cook arrived. Once again, a violent conflict erupted, and many Maori were killed. But this time, Cook managed to map the entire region. By the 18th century, the Europeans had found their way back. But this time, they didn't attack. They used trade as a weapon. By luring the Maori with business and profits, the British started building ports. Slowly but surely, they took control. Then came 1840, the year that changed everything. The British signed the Treaty of Waitangi with the Maori chiefs, officially making New Zealand a part of the British Empire. At that time, the Maori population was 200,000. But within the next 100 years, it dropped to just 40,000. Shocking! But why? There were two main reasons. First, diseases. The Europeans unknowingly brought deadly illnesses that were common in Europe. The Maori people had no immunity, and many died. Second, war. Just 5 years after the treaty, brutal conflicts over land ownership erupted between the British and the Maori. These wars lasted for 40 years. In the end, by 1881, most Maori leaders were killed, and the Maori resistance was crushed. But the British realized something. They could not develop New Zealand without including the Maori people. So they started giving them key roles in development, governance, and elections. And finally, New Zealand began its journey toward peace and prosperity. But still, why is so much of New Zealand empty today? The answer is simple: geography. The entire southern region of New Zealand is covered with massive mountain ranges. The terrain is so harsh that construction is nearly impossible. And the eastern land, too dry and infertile for farming. This is why most people only live in the North Island. To solve the population shortage, New Zealand changed its immigration policies after World War II. Before that, non-white immigrants weren't even allowed. But after 1950, people from Asia, especially China, the Philippines, and India, began settling here. Today, 27% of New Zealand's population consists of immigrants, but most of them live in Auckland. This is why Auckland has become one of the least affordable cities in the world. High demand, low land supply. To fix this, the government is offering $8,000 grants to people willing to relocate 100 kilometers away from Auckland. Here's another shocking fact. The entire agricultural industry of New Zealand runs on exporting meat. The green pastures of the North Island allow millions of goats and sheep to thrive. New Zealand's population is only 5 million, but the sheep population, over 30 million. That's why New Zealand is the world's biggest exporter of mutton and wool. In 2019 alone, New Zealand earned $46 billion from meat exports. Unbelievable. And this should be a huge motivation for countries like India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, agricultural powerhouses that can achieve the same success. If you loved today's video, make sure to like and subscribe. These are all the sources we used for this research. See you in the next video. Take care. Allah Hafiz. Now your script is packed with emotion, making it more engaging for narration. Let me know if you want further refinements.